There are some people you meet and automatically just feel amazing when you're around them. Maybe they pay great attention to you. Maybe they ask the right questions. Maybe they make you feel seen and heard. It could be all of those things. But regardless, people who you feel amazing around typically have great aura. They have great personalities, great energy. And I think anybody can develop great aura, great energy. Anybody can develop the skills needed to embody this within their own life. And the one primary skill, the meta skill that these people have is what I like to call total state control. And when I say total state control, I don't mean government watching over you or anything like that, no. So people who have total state control have complete oversight with how they interface with reality. Their emotions are in check, their thoughts are relatively positive, they're engaging with others in a harmonious and just chill way. They're totally confident in their own skin, they're not bothered by problems that they shouldn't be bothered by, and they're level-headed. They're living on their own wavelength. They're comfortable within their own skin. And when they encounter a specific situation, like an energy vampire, like I've talked about plenty, or they're in a situation where things just aren't going well, they're cool, calm, collected. They're level-headed. They're problem solvers, and they feel so composed no matter what it is that's happening around them, and no matter how other people around them are acting. When we're around these people, we feel like they're magnetic. We feel like they're wise beyond their years. We feel like they are just a positive influence on everything around them. And it's true, they typically are. However, what I'll say is that these people are not special. Anybody can develop total state control. And as I mentioned before, there are 4 sub-layers to developing this, all right? So the first layer is frame. And frame has a couple different parts to it. So this is the lens in which you interpret events and the reality you project outward as well, all right? So there's that subjective psychological perspective, like how you perceive the world, but it's also the objective physical side to it, all right? So people with great aura, people who are high vibrational, people with positive energy that just make other people around them feel amazing, they are not always right per se. They're not always in the right. They can be in the wrong, but they're totally confident about what they think. They're totally confident with their choices. They're totally confident with how they feel in a given situation. There's no second guessing. There's no indecisiveness. And this is because they have that strong, calm, and composed frame. And the fascinating part about people who have a very strong frame is that they tend to dictate the emotional energies of people around them. It's not that people with strong frame want to manipulate, although that sometimes can be the case. We see this with narcissists and psychopaths, but people with strong frame who mean well, they're so stable internally that everything they do externally is a reflection of that. Other people see that they're so composed internally and notice that things are working out externally for them, and they feel compelled to act in the same way. They match the energy of the person who has a great aura. So that's number 1, is frame. The second sub-layer to having total state control is presence. Now, as I've said countless times before, your attention, along with your health, is your most valuable asset. And one's presence is the quality of full attentional investment to the present moment. Presence, present moment, all right? So this is pure mindfulness. And many people, especially in modern times, we choose to distract ourselves. We choose to step away from the moment because maybe it's uncomfortable, maybe it's bored, maybe we have anxiety by sitting here and just listening to our thoughts. But people with total state control who have this amazing aura, they are totally present with the moment. They're totally comfortable within their own skin. And you can only embody this if you are fully mindful, when you are fully present in the moment. When you're fully present, your attentional bandwidth is essentially too busy with whatever's happening right here and now that your mind won't wander. When your mind doesn't wander, then it's impossible to feel anxious. It's impossible to feel depressed, all right? That's why having full presence, and people who have full presence with their total state control, they're very emotionally stable. So the third sublayer to having total state control is emotional regulation. As I just said, these people are very emotionally stable, and they're not robotic. They're not repressing their emotions, but I'd say that they're actually more emotionally tapped in than most other people because they can deliberately choose when they want to feel certain emotions and when they don't want to feel certain emotions. They can logically understand, okay, well, I'm in a situation where I need to be level-headed. I need to keep myself composed so that others around me will do their best and rise up to the occasion. Later on, I can feel that emotion and fully embody whatever it was I couldn't embody right now. And that's a very powerful skill to have. It's one that takes quite some time to develop, and it's very hard because we live in this world where people are emotionally reactive. We're seeing things and we get pissed off. We have to wait for things rather than getting immediate gratification, and we're annoyed. We get fed up. We get frustrated. And this is just the state of the modern world. Along with this, people with great emotional regulation skills, they can understand the distinction between experiencing an emotion and being the emotion. Something I've talked a lot about with my one-to-one clients is that you can experience anxiety, you can experience sadness, but you are not sad, you are not anxious. It is simply an emotion trying to manifest its way through you. So when we attach our identity and sense of self to an emotion, oftentimes a negative emotion, that's not good, because that ends up dictating all of your thoughts and your behaviors that follow. We don't want that. We want to logically understand, okay, like I am feeling this emotion, but have that distinction between where the emotion is and who you are. So the fourth sublayer to having total state control is your physiological state. This involves your breathing, your posture, how you carry yourself when you walk around, your body language. All these things matter so much. And many people, they don't consciously think about these things. We just breathe as we always have. We walk around as we always have. We have body language as we always have. We speak how we always have. But what you'll realize is that these automatic behaviors and patterns, they can be very quickly changed when you think about it. If you're somebody who's very serious about having a great aura and exuding this positive energy out to the world, no matter where you go, then keep your posture, your breathing, and your body language in check, all right? These things matter so much more than you think because ultimately your psychological state follows your physical state. And it's a lot easier to manipulate your physiological state rather than your psychological state. So yeah, start there. By doing so, you can also improve your nervous system. You can't outthink a dysregulated nervous system, so do the things you can. Like getting your body posture and your body language and the way you breathe in check that's low-hanging fruit. Anybody can do that, all right? You don't gotta be walking around like flexing your muscles. Nah, it's stupid. And you also don't need to be taking like super deep breaths all the time. But if you can check yourself 4 or 5 times throughout the day, when you're in the grocery store, when you're on the commute to work, when you're at the gym, then over time, your body will unconsciously adjust itself to have better physiological posture, all right? You'll breathe better, you'll speak more eloquently, you speak more clearly, you will have this sense of calmness in your overall demeanor that just bleeds into all other areas of your life. It might feel forced in the beginning, but eventually you're just like, all right, like this is who I am. This is the space I'm taking up. You don't feel like you're cowering away from other people. You're not trying to make yourself smaller. You're stepping into the space that you're taking up. And the beautiful thing about all of this, all these 4 sub-layers that I mentioned about developing your total state control, is that anybody can do it, all right? You don't need to be smart. You don't need to be special. None of that, okay? But the issue is that a lot of people think that in order to do this, you need to pretend to be somebody that you're not. That's simply not the case. I actually believe that in developing a better frame, more presence, stronger emotional regulation skills, in a congruent physical state, that you're actually stepping into who you really are. And I know that might sound paradoxical. Like if I haven't been living a certain way for all these years, but now I change these things. How am I becoming who I really am? Well, you're becoming more authentic. You're expressing yourself in the best way you possibly can. And many of us, due to conditioning and our past experiences and what culture and society have pushed onto us for many years, we're not living our best life. But when you can work on these things, when you can develop this total state control within you, then you do step into who you really are. And just realize that these things take time. If you've been walking around like hunched over, cowering away for many years, then it's going to feel super strange. If you've been emotionally reacting to every minor inconvenience within your life from the day you were a little kid up until now, then it's going to take some time. You will slip up. You will fall back into your old ways time and time again. It happens, especially since many of these programs are deeply rooted within us at the subconscious level. All that, the code that makes up those mental programs, it's way deep down within us. So yeah, you can consciously go about changing these things, and that does work. You will see some changes. But if you're somebody who would like to fast track that, get down to the subconscious, make those shifts with your beliefs and your self-perception and how you interface with reality itself, then you can, of course, book a call with me down below and we can get going. So anyways, yeah, that's all I have today. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll speak to you soon.